up, you guys? My name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and today I want to talk about the PPP because earlier this week, President Joe Biden and the Biden administration announced some pretty significant changes to the PPP, and these changes will be extremely beneficial to small businesses of 20 employees or less. So in this video, I want to break down what these changes are. I want to break down why it's significant and why it's pretty time sensitive. So let's get started. Now, the PPP has always been accessible to independent contractors, gig workers, self-employed individuals this entire time. But the problem is the program as a whole is definitely skewed towards businesses that actually have employees, not independent contractors, gig workers, or self-employed individuals. As a result, there are a lot of people that in theory should have qualified for the PPP, or they should have qualified for a decent amount of money through the PPP. But because of the way that the PPP is calculated and because of the application process as a whole, these people were either ineligible for the PPP or they got less funds than they maybe were expecting or that may have been beneficial. So in response to this issue that really people have been having since last March, President Joe Biden and his administration announced a temporary change to the Paycheck Protection Program. And that is for 2 weeks, the PPP is going to be open exclusively to businesses of 20 employees or less. That means if you have a business and you just have less than 20 employees, these changes would apply to you. If you are a gig worker, they'd apply to you. If you're an independent contractor, if you're a self-employed individual, if you're somebody like a YouTuber, then these changes would also apply to you as well. Now, according to an article published by CNBC, 98% of small businesses are businesses that make up of 20 employees or fewer. But despite this huge number, only 45% of applicants who've received PPP funding thus far are businesses of 20 employees or fewer. So there is definitely like a leaning advantage with the PPP program to go towards businesses of more than 20 employees, despite the fact that the vast majority of businesses across the United States are businesses of less than 20 employees. So there is definitely a disproportion here according to what businesses are getting funding and what businesses are being left out, or what businesses are getting less than they potentially deserve. So in response to this, the Biden administration came out and said that for 2 weeks, the PPP is going to be open exclusively to these small businesses of 20 employees or fewer. This started yesterday, Wednesday, February 24th, and it will be continuing until Wednesday, March 10th. That is unless the Biden administration extends it for whatever reason, but as of right now, that is the time frame. Now, the businesses that would qualify to apply under this 2-week window are, like I mentioned earlier, people who are independent contractors, gig workers. So for example, if you drive for Uber, Lyft, if you are a YouTuber, if you host on Turo, Airbnb, if you're a freelancer, if you have a small business, all of these things would qualify you for the PPP. Additionally, you can apply in this 2-week window if you're somebody who's applying for a first draw or a second draw, meaning if you're somebody who has never applied for the PPP before, you can apply in this 2-week window. On the flip side, if you're somebody who has applied before and you've received PPP funds and you've spent all those funds, you can apply for the second draw in this window as well. So there is a whole lot of people that could potentially qualify to apply during this exclusive 2-week window. In addition to this exclusive 2-week window, the administration has also changed the way that the PPP for Givable funds is calculated. Now, this is something that is huge news. Because of the way that the PPP has been calculated thus far, there has been a lot of people who make money through a side hustle, but because of the way that their income was reported on their taxes, they did not qualify for anything. You see, when it comes to the PPP, it's calculated by 2.5 times your payroll cost. So if you have employees and you pay monthly payroll, then the way that your forgivable PPP loan would be calculated is by calculating that monthly payroll cost, multiplying it by 2.5, and that is how much you could qualify for. But the problem with self-employed people is the fact that you don't have payroll, especially if you're a one-man show like myself. So as a result, PPP lenders went off the IRS 1040 Schedule C form. But the problem with this process is that the 1040 Schedule C takes tax deductions into account. And as a result, a lot of people reported negative numbers on their 1040 Schedule C, even if they made money for that tax year. As a result, this program as a whole has been highly skewed to businesses that pay payroll. Because of the fact that payroll doesn't take deductions into account. Payroll is just a flat number that you pay. While the 1040 Schedule C really is not an accurate representation to how much money you made in your side business, or your gig job. Now, in response to this, the SBA is finally reevaluating their formula for independent contractors. And instead of going off of the 1040 Schedule C, they are going off of your gross income in a very similar way that they've been doing with agricultural-based businesses this entire time. So now they'll be addressing like proper LLCs, proper businesses with employees by that 2.5 times formula that they've been using. They do agricultural based businesses based off of gross income, and now they will be doing the same thing for independent contractors, gig workers, and self-employed individuals. So if you are somebody who applied for the PPP over the last year and you did not receive any funds because of the fact that you had that negative number on your Schedule C, I would highly encourage you to reach out to an authorized lender, whether it be an online lender like Cabbage or Bluevine, or going with a more traditional lender. Whatever lender you choose is irrelevant, but I would highly encourage you to look into this. Additionally, there are a lot of ways that you could potentially take advantage of the first draw and the second draw given these new changes, and that's something that you should explore as well. And lastly is the question of what happens if you're somebody who applied for the PPP over the summer, over this last year, you didn't receive as much as you may have deserved because of the Schedule C, and as a result, you now want more money. Now, as of right now, it's unclear if this is going to be retroactive. This is something that has not been addressed by the Biden administration, but I have seen a number of news outlets kind of ask this question of what happens to those people that applied in the past but want more funds because of the fact they didn't get as much as they maybe were expecting, or maybe that they deserved based on their income. And we don't know the answer to that yet. So what I would encourage you to do is, if you're somebody who received funds over the last year, you want to receive more funds, and you have not applied for the PPP 2.0, I would encourage you to do that. In the meantime, I would just encourage you to stay tuned and see what ends up coming out on this retroactive aspect. Will the SBA issue the proper payments to the people who applied in the past? Will you have to reapply? Will there be a PPP 3.0 for independent contractors? I'm not really sure how exactly that will play out, but I think that there will be updates on this in the coming days or in the coming weeks. But with that being said, you guys, I hope that you found this video helpful. This is really big news for independent contractors, gig workers, self-employed individuals. Remember that in order to apply for the PPP, you do not have to have an LLC. You do not have to have a business checking account. You do not have to have a proper business. All you have to do is you have to be able to show that you have some sort of external source of income that is in addition to your W-2. So for example, if you just work a 9-to-5, you do not qualify for the PPP. But if you work a 9-to-5 and you also host on Airbnb part-time, or you host on Turo, or you have a gig job, or you do freelancing, this could potentially qualify you for either the PPP first round or the second round of the PPP funding. But with that being said, if you guys have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have anything to add, then make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.